Water brings joy, adventure, and opportunity, but it also demands knowledge and respect. Every year, many lives are lost to drowning. Yet, all these tragedies can be prevented through simple life-saving skills and awareness. Today, I'm joined with a passionate drowning prevention activist and public health expert whose life has been dedicated to creating awareness and making our communities safer around water. We will hear his story, his journey, learn life-saving tips, but also understand and discover why everyone should know how to survive on water. Welcome to the Aquatic Life-Saving channel. My name is Grace Joyce, and with me will be Alan Chiza, talking definitely about drowning prevention, but more about his journey and making communities safer. Remember, subscribe, share this content, hit that notification bell to always find your new episode, but also tell a friend to tell a friend and come on board. Let's partner together to make our communities safer. Well, Alan Chiza is already with me, and let's get right into this episode. How are you, Alan?
Fine, thank you, and thank you for having me.
So, we will not waste time. A journey in drowning prevention and water safety. First of all, how, why, when? But tell us about you. Who are you? What are you? And let us get to know you.
Alan Chiza is my name. Sometimes your life's purpose starts long before you recognize it. And I would like to think mine started way before I even thought or even understood what life-saving meant. How? Back in college, when I just joined Namasagali, one of the things that fascinated me most were swimming. So that way I joined the swim club in Namasagali, which was Dolphins. Not the current Dolphins, but we had a swim club called Dolphins.
So there is an old version of
There is
Dolphins.
an old version of Dolphins, yes. So I joined the Dolphin Swim Club, of course with the goal and purpose of learning competitive swimming. This is the year 1998. Now, after joining Dolphins, of course, Dolphins came with its privileges. How? As a dolphin swimmer, you were entitled to attending every pool party at school. And of course, attending that pool party to me was everything at the time.
I know.
But at those pool parties, we didn't attend to eat food.
Oh.
It was more of work. I mean, looking at the experience that I gained at the time, because being able swimmers at the time, our role was to patrol other swimmers while they were swimming.
They were swimming.
Now, I didn't know that my calling was actually stepping in. And I usually tell people, what I learned in my senior one today puts food on the table.
Wow.
Today, it's the value that I've added on after school and all that. But yeah, it's that one skill that I learned in my senior one that puts food on the table today. So that's how my story and journey into life-saving begins. From joining the Dolphin Club into helping other swimmers, watching over them, even before I even knew the definition of water safety and life-saving, I was already taking part in life-saving. So that's how I got into life-saving.
Okay, but that's how you got into it. But what inspired you to stay and even pursue it to this length?
I think the inspiration comes along the road, because I remember, again, when I get to university, I meet a couple of friends. I was actually walking on campus. So these guys come to me and, we know you're from Namasagali, you went to Namasagali. We've been looking for swimmers and yet you're here. Please come join our team. When I went to join the team, I found old faces. I remember meeting my captain, Kathy, what was that? Okay, the name is out of my head, but she was a Sure or something. Yeah, so meeting the people that I knew was a plus. I was like, okay, I think I found something I've always, because when I left Namasagali, I switched away from swimming for some time. Years, actually, for some years. So doing it again at campus was more of my calling, you know, haunting me, you know. So I went, I remember going to the pool, we went to KK for our first swim session, and from that moment I never turned back. But along the road, when, fast forward, 2012, we get together, a group of a few swim coaches and teachers, started up
By
an
then
organization.
you were already a coach.
Yes, by then I was already a coach. That is 2012, because I joined Kampala International School in 2009.
Okay, but now you've skipped so much from Namasagali. How do you now get into coaching? Because you said you left time before you went back into swimming, but now you're back into swimming and now we are coaching.
So when I left Namasagali, I switched from, I've always been a sportsman.
Okay.
From childhood. So when I left Namasagali, the schools I attended didn't have swimming pools. So I engaged more in basketball, rugby, and other sports, golf, and the likes. I resumed swimming again when I get to university. When I meet a group of people now, the gap I mean, because I left Namasagali, I think the year 2000. Now I meet these guys at university, this is 2005, and it kicks in again. So I joined the team, the school team. We started the swimming journey. Along the swimming journey, I was made swim captain for the university team, that's MOBS. Along the road, when I left, I stayed back and coached the team at MOBS, you know. And when I left MOBS, of course, I engaged into other businesses. That's the year between 2008. I engaged into other businesses, but the calling was still there. So that's how I find myself a job at Kisu. So my first teaching role, let me say coaching, because it wasn't teaching at the time. My first coaching role was at Kisu. This is the year 2009. When I got in, of course, having been a swimmer, it was easy for me to instruct what I knew.
You knew.
But of course, the requirements of the institution were a little bit different. For you to fit in, you needed to be a teacher.
Oh, yeah.
So this prompted me to go back to school
To study teaching.
to study education. So I went to Ndeje University and did a postgraduate in education, because initially my previous bachelor's was in procurement and supply chain management. So I went to Ndeje and did a postgraduate diploma in education to be able to teach. And when I finished that postgraduate, of course, opportunities opened up. I started hopping from school to school, and I found myself probably teaching almost in every international school in Uganda.
Oh, wow. So now you're coaching swimming, and how do you transition to now, I want beyond coaching to teach people to stay safe on water? And what was that defining moment that made you say, no, I have to change, beyond swimming, this is life-saving is what I should do?
Initially it was coaching, so I transitioned from coaching into teaching,
Okay.
which is different, because in coaching, the way we instruct is different. Same as, it's different from teaching. So I transitioned from coaching into teaching. Now, while at Kisu, I remember I came up, we were a group of a few, about 10, 15 people, coaches, that came together and had an idea.
By this time, had you studied anything to do with coaching, or were you coaching from swimming knowledge?
At the time, I had the simplest basic certificate in life-saving. In life-saving. It was nothing to do with coaching. I didn't have any coaching instruction course. Yeah, because at the time, I think the only course that had been held was held in 1996.
Wow.
Yes.
Coaching course.
Yeah, a coaching course. That's FINA.
Wow.
FINA was which is now World Aquatics.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I held a course here in Uganda, but at the time I was still in college, so no, I was still in school, so I was unable to attend. Okay. But along the road, the interest came in, and when we formed a group of Uganda Lifesaving Federation, this is in 2012, we formed a group, Uganda Lifesaving Federation, which ran its first TOT program or course at Rest Gardens, because I remember engaging the late Bishop Nkoyoyo. I ran the program because I was the person in charge of hosting that event. So I remember getting in touch with Bishop Nkoyoyo. He was so happy about the program, he gave us a venue. We invited Job Kanya from Kenya Lifesaving Federation, who ran the program of Train of Trainers, and from that moment, we've never looked back. So the first program that we ran was a Train of Trainers for Lifesaving, and it was held at Rest Gardens, and the instructor was Job Kanya.
Okay. Now you've finished instructing and everything. Tell us about now launching into drowning prevention.
When I joined Uganda Lifesaving Federation, I was given responsibility as one, a certified TOT, a train of trainers, two, as the PR of the federation. But along the road, these are conversations we used to have. And along the road, we came to learn that life-saving alone is broad, and what we were offering was actually minimal. Because life-saving alone had about 10 pillars, and most of us were only stuck to one, which was training lifeguards, training coaches, but there was more beyond that. Now, because I had the passion of wanting to learn and wanting to share knowledge, of course, I needed to go back to school again. To understand drowning in broad. So we started engaging in these programs here and there, learning more and more about life-saving. And that way, I found myself again going back to school, doing a master's degree in public health, because drowning itself is a public health concern.
Yeah.
Yes, so looking at reports at the time, reports were so-and-so drowned, and most times these drownings were reported as accidents, just accidents, and that was it. Nothing more, nothing less. And now to us who were in the swimming field, for starters, we thought it is our field. How does someone drown when we can teach them how to swim? So it is something that used to bug us, because in fact, even before the policy makers came on board to help us with all these things, in our mind, we thought that was entirely our jurisdiction.
Wow.
So we tried as much as we could to try and sensitize people on drowning, what they can do, how does drowning happen, and so forth.
So before we continue, what makes drowning a public health concern?
Drowning is a public health concern because it affects so many people. It brings up death, and you can't rule that out. WHO recognized drowning as a public health concern in 2014 when they wrote the first draft on drowning prevention. And from that moment, that's when we all started realizing the concern that indeed drowning exists. However, we also learned that drowning is equally preventable. And I think what we needed to understand is what can be done to prevent such drownings or such deaths. So that's what makes it a public health concern.
It's a public health concern, but people will not react to it the way it is. How do people react to drowning, and what should be the response? You get the difference.
Yeah.
This is how they react, but how do they react, and how should they react?
The reaction is slow because, one, people are just starting to understand drowning as a public health concern. That is one. Two, Uganda in itself has not had major drowning incidents, except the one we had in November a few years ago. We've not had that major, let me give an example of a hurricane that the whole public, the whole nation is at risk and everyone feels an impact. Today, if you engaged 100 people, you'll notice that in 100 people, you're going to find probably 1 to 8 people who, or let me say 2 people who have probably been victims of drowning or know of a relative
Who has been a
victim of drowning.
Yeah.
So it's quite distant. Now, it being distant has brought up there's a way people don't seem to see it as close to them. And that's why they really don't care much about drowning. But if it was so close, if people knew families that have gone through or that had drowning victims, the trauma they've gone through, probably it would make a difference. Yeah.
So how should they respond now that they are aware? Because everyone who has watched, I'm sure now you know that drowning is a public health issue. So what should be the reaction? But also, is there a story where, just to relate this, is there a scenario that you can tell us where you tried to really tell this message to someone?
Yes. One, the relation, the only people can understand drowning is, one, to rule out the myth that drowning is loud. Drowning is silent. Drowning happens very quick. It is silent, and before you know it, you have a drowning victim. I'll give you an example. Sorry to say this on on camera, but I remember when the late Yoma's son drowned. I think I was at Speak Resort. We had Uganda Swimming Federation annual something. I think we had just come out of Kana. Yes. So we were having a party, and someone came running telling us that someone had drowned. Now, we were dressed in our uniforms, Uganda Swimming Federation. So when we got to the marina, we were blocked by relatives and people that were there. Because we were in uniforms, probably they thought we were
A rescue?
No, they thought we were media team, and they didn't want anyone to cover, you know, that kind. But we got there because we wanted to help. Because we had an idea about swimming. We just needed to know, where did the victim fall in, how could we, and we were entirely blocked off. So the perception, of course, hindered the search and rescue. At the time, probably we could have helped in a way or another, but the perception and the myth of people thinking that for anyone who drowns, they have to shout or make noise, which is, you know, not the case. Drowning is silent. It happens quick. It happens fast. That if you have children in the pool, but if you turn away, by the time you turn back, a child is drowning.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how do we get this message to the masses, and how do we penetrate into the different risk groups?
We started this journey in 2012 under Uganda Lifesaving Federation when we did our first training of Lifesaving. And from that moment, because all the people that we taught at that time were supposed to go out in communities, in schools, beaches, different swimming pools, to teach and sensitize people, but also rescue those that are in distress.
Wow.
So what we are doing today is part of that. In my journey, out of the 10 pillars in life saving, I picked out 3.
Wow.
That I thought I would.
So what are the 10 pillars?
Some of the pillars in life-saving are, 1, creating barriers to make sure that if swimming pools are enclosed, well fenced, there is limited access for children and people that intend to go in and swim. Then there is supervision. Supervision means how are you supervising children that are nearby? If you're a parent, don't let your children swim without supervision. Keep close supervision so that children don't drown. Then there is survival swimming. Learn simple basic survival swimming, because this will help you stay afloat in case of anything. The other would be, of course, water safety education and awareness for people to learn and understand that yes, drowning exists, but how do you prevent yourself from such drowning? There is search and rescue of drowned victims. That's both in open water and
swimming pool.
Yes. Then there is policy. There is advocacy. Yeah, there is policy and advocacy as part of as another pillar. There is community engagement, engaging the community, teaching them on drowning prevention measures. Safe boating. There is safe boating. How do you engage in safe boating, especially for fishermen communities, proper use of life jackets, and so forth. So out of those, I picked out about 3 pillars that I thought would be much more hopeful or as my part or my role to play in society. One was community engagement, which we've done extensively in so many areas, so many regions. Supervision, which is a call that we keep reminding people about supervision. How do you supervise a child that you know, if you're in a facility, a swimming facility, and you're so many, but you want to rely on each other. So, and that's why I always say, if you think everyone is watching, then no one is watching until you yourself you are watching. That's the only time you know that the person you're watching is safe. But if you rely on another person, then they are unsafe. What's the third? So I've talked about supervision, I've talked about community engagement, and then
Swimming.
and survival swimming, learning basic survival swimming. So learning basic survival swimming is the #1 pillar to preventing drowning.
Oh, wow.
It's the #1 pillar to preventing drowning. So sensitization is key, but learning simple basic survival swimming
can it really save lives?
Yes, it does save lives. It does.
Okay. And what's the biggest challenge in promoting these 3 issues, these 3 pillars that you have chosen out of the 10? What is the biggest challenge, and how can we go about those challenges?
Well, the biggest challenge is, of course, changing attitude. Many people believe drowning won't happen to them or their loved ones. Others see swimming as a luxury. Swimming is beyond just a luxury, but it's a life skill. And for every time we engage these communities, we want to tell them that we want to try to change their mindsets, their perception, that, okay, the biggest challenge here is drowning. But if you think that drowning is just that swimming is just a luxury, then you're putting your lives at risk. Why don't you take the first step and learn simple, basic survival swimming? And this will help you learn or stay safe in case disaster strikes. But most people never look at it that way. They don't see that disaster happening at any time.
Oh, yeah.
So the myth and the mindset is that one part that is quite a challenge for the people that we've engaged with. But also different communities. Because when we engage children in schools is different from communities, from fishing communities. Life stories are totally different. But yeah, the biggest challenge that I faced is the mindset.
How do we, the only way to change mindsets is definitely sensitization.
Yes.
So let's wrap this up. Tell the public, look in the camera, tell them what's the importance of them knowing about drowning prevention and learning ways of how to tackle this. And how should we have, what should be our attitude?
It is important for us to learn water safety. And again, when we speak of water safety, most people want to relate it to water up to drinking standards, having safe water. So when we say water safety, most people don't want to look at or don't think of the drowning part. But yes, drowning is real, drowning is fast, drowning is silent. Anyone can drown, no one should drown. And the first thing you want to do, the first step you want to take is learn simple basic survival swimming and follow through these other guidelines. Drowning comes in so many ways. It comes either on open waters, in a swimming pool, it could be in a water tank at home, it could be in a bucket or a basin, saucepan at home, it could be lakes, it could be ponds, it could be a trench, a gutter at home. We saw a lady that drowned at Nakawa just because she was working in a flood. So every time you get knowledge on drowning prevention, you will understand that how safe, is it safe for me to walk in flood waters or unknown waters? If I was walking in a swampy area, how do I enter such waters? I know, we know of people who go into swamps. I'll give an example of NEMA. I know our environmentalists go into those swamps to collect water samples, but as NEMA, do you engage your people in such programs, in learn to swim programs, because these are people who go into the swamps to go and pick water samples. But what dangers could possibly happen if you walk into unknown waters? We've seen people from, and these are groups, some of these groups we've worked with, water quality management and national water. They go into lakes and rivers to collect samples of water. How safe are you? We have a group of people who dig wells. What do they call them? Who dig those wells of underground waters. And we've seen most of them being covered up by soil and water. Before they know it, it's apnea. How safe are you? So that's why we keep reminding you that anyone can drown, no one should. Personally, I'm a victim. Last time I was telling a story of how I got caught up, how we left college to go to a different island just to pick mangoes at a tender age, not knowing what it looks like. But when we got stuck in the middle of a storm, that's when we realized that swimming itself is just not enough, because we had to tow a boat to pull a boat from one area to another. And I'm telling you, a wave would come, a strong current would come, hit that boat. We had a big boat, but we had no oars, and yet we were able swimmers. So the current would come and hit the boat. Part of it would enter the boat. It would move the boat about 10 meters behind.
Wow.
Now, you can see the risk and danger that we were in. Luckily enough, we were able to reach Namasagali University, where we parked the boat and found our way back in college. So drowning can happen to anyone, and if we all don't take a keen interest in learning what this means, then we are bound to lose more lives.
What changes have you seen in communities that have taken up this water safety education and have really taken drowning prevention serious?
Well, what we've seen or noticed is we've seen more confidence around water, better supervision, especially from that supervision practices from parents and the masses that we have taught, schools. We've seen proper use of life jackets. People are now learning how to use life jackets. People are now understanding that if I have a life jacket, I don't just put it on, I have to check it to see, does it fit? Does it have a whistle? And all those other things. Some of the most notable one, I think, is lately. I think if you go to every beach in Entebbe, they have beach flags.
Wow.
And this reminds me of way back in 2012 when we started this journey. Every time we'd speak of these beach flags, people were like, what are you even talking about? But today when you go to Entebbe, you notice that all beaches have beach flags. So I think the impact has been realized and people are adhering to the requirements, which I think is positive. The other thing is now people are trying to understand what drowning really is.
Oh.
They're now trying to appreciate that, yes, drowning is preventable. Before, people didn't really care, but now when you speak of drowning, people know that, okay, this is something that can be prevented if we do things the right way. I engaged in a conversation with one of the beach guards over the weekend, and he was telling me how he enjoys beach guarding than pool guarding, because he thinks there is minimal risk at the beach than at the pool.
Wow.
Yes, because at the beach, if you've set up flags and you tell people that's a no-go area, no one is going to go there. So he felt like it's a relief. It feels good to sit at the beach than sitting at the pool.
Wow.
So yeah, so I think the impact has been realized.
Oh, thank you for the good work. So you've heard it from Coach Alan. I call him Coach because, as you've heard in his journey, part of his work is to coach swimming, but mostly survival swimming. Drowning is preventable, and every lesson learned can save a life. Choose to learn, choose to seek the knowledge. Here on the Aquatic Lifesaving channel, we have this information, and we shall keep bringing it to you every other week. Also, if you have questions about drowning prevention, water safety, please feel free to leave them in our comment section, in our numbers on the screen, or just DM us. We shall be happy to answer them. Thank you for joining us again. This has been a great episode here on the Aquatic Lifesaving channel. Remember to share the content, subscribe, and tell a friend to tell a friend about the channel. Don't forget that notification bell so that you don't miss an episode. Thank you again for joining us. Quick fire. One word to describe water.
Water is fun.
Most important swimming skill.
Floating.
Pool or open water.
Both, but respect each differently.
Best advice for parents.
Never underestimate supervision.
What's one thing everyone should learn before going
How to float.
One myth about drowning.
The drowning is always loud and dramatic.
Swimming or floating.
Floating.
Life jacket or swimming ability. Which one saves lives?
Together, they save the most lives.
One water safety myth you wish would disappear.
Respect it.
What's the first thing everyone should learn about water?
Respect water.
One thing you look for when you arrive at a water body.
Potential hazards.
What's one misconception about drowning?
That drowning only happens to non-swimmers.
If you could invent one water safety gadget, what would it be?
A wearable device that can instantly alert others when someone is drowning.
What superpower would help most in your work? Which superpower would help most in your work?
Teaching every child to swim instantly.
What's the funniest thing that has happened during our water safety training?
A child once asked me if swimming goggles would allow him to breathe underwater.
Finally, what's one word you hope people think when they hear water safety?
Preparedness.
Okay, all of us together. Drowning is preventable.
Anyone can drown, no one should drown. Stay afloat.